All right. I like that we decided to put these on YouTube because people would probably like, who is Louis the cat? What's he about?
Here he
Now you
is,
know. There he is.
this
Sorry,
monster.
everyone, if you're not watching this, but Louis
He's my
is
little businessman. Okay,
he's
all right.
so
Okay.
cute. He's a very majestic looking cat with his white little
His little
mittens and his bright
tuxedo
green
and his
eyes.
mittens.
He's so cute. He honestly is like a tuxedo mask of a cat. I recently
Oh,
started rewatching Sailor Moon. That shit is crazy. Oh
I
my
know.
god. It's a lot. I
That's
can't
it.
believe
It is a lot.
it's a
Yeah.
lot to process. I'm like, they're kids. This is fucking weird. A lot of
Yeah,
it's
you're like,
strange. Like,
yeah,
isn't Tuxedo Mask like 18 and she's 4? That's not what this is about. Caitlin, you have a fun fact for me.
I sure do. Okay, so we haven't introduced the topic of the show yet. Um, oh, Lauren got a smoothie delivery.
Oh yeah, my husband makes some good smoothies.
I'm like, hello, garçon. Where is
Garçon.
my smoothie?
My smoothie's very heated rivalry. If you know, you know. Holy shit. Okay, sorry. Not a pop culture podcast. Tell me your fun fact.
Okay. So, if you selected this episode, you know what we're already talking about. So, in thinking about leaks, I was like, this reminds me of adult diapers.
Oh my god. Okay. I'm so scared.
So, I turned to the internet and I said, "Hello Google, how long have adult diapers been a thing?" Well, how long? How long do you think they've been around?
Probably a while.
Yes.
Like, what kind? Like, are we just talking like? Are we talking like how you used to just be like in like fucking plague times? They were like, "Here's your rag for your period, girl. You're banished to the outhouse for a week." Or like does that count? Or like,
I mean,
yeah, the way they were just like, "Here's some fucking rags. These are your
here's some
period rags." Nightmare.
Can I walk you through
the history of adult diapers?
The ages? Okay. Let's start with ancient times, shall we?
This honestly, I expected it to be post Jesus.
You know, we'll never know.
We'll never know. Okay, the ancient times.
Likely not in the Bible. Ancient
this
times.
Is not what I expected at all. I'm excited. But also, how dare you give me adult diapers when I gave you a prickle of... This is an outrage, but go on. All right, we're doing adult diapers.
I'm sorry, mine works in weird ways. I was literally sitting here like a goblin going, ha ha ha, laughing. Okay, ancient times, they used natural materials such as leaf wraps, animal skins. They called these swaddling bands.
Okay,
that
cute.
They would use crosswise around and tightly wrap around each limb for said leaks. Moving on into the 1800s.
Okay. Big fast forward.
Leaves, huh? I don't know what they're using.
There's some big out there. I feel like
were they absorbent?
Climates, fuck no. Leaves are not trying to absorb. You see though how the water beads on them? Honestly, not my favorite choice of material. Like you watch it and you're like, I love
Certainly
how the
not.
rain beads on that leaf. You know what we should do? Use it as like an absorbent.
As an adult diaper. I'm sure as like a child diaper too. Okay, so it gets weirder. So in the 1800s, they said, hello, yes, we will be using a simple rectangular piece of linen fixed with safety pins.
Okay.
Well, in the 1940s, great question. No idea. Probably not, but they did use them for a long time because then we moved to the 1940s when...
Innovation.
This is when the first disposable undergarment was fashioned using tissue paper inside a pair of rubber pants.
Wait. How's that gonna work?
No idea. Okay, fast forward, 1960s, we got space. NASA got involved.
Honestly, like the innovation, I feel bad for people that like need these because the innovation timeline is like dog shit.
Poor. Quite poor. They were like, no, none for you.
Okay, so by the time we're like, well, we can make it to the moon, I guess we'll resolve this now. Okay, go on.
Yep. Then they were like, we're on it. So, this is what they ended up doing. This is actually what it says. So I'm going to read it verbatim. Male astronauts were saddled with an ill-fitting collection pouch and condom-shaped sheath, while their female counterparts wore disposable absorption containment trunks held together with a zipper.
Honest, is this feminist that at least the women got a zipper? I didn't even expect them to do a girl version, honestly. I guess
Honestly,
maybe, yeah. No.
Kind of bold, but okay. Moving on to the 1970s, we're getting a little faster in our evolvement.
Absorption chambers, really something. Okay, keep going.
A sheath. Anyway, okay. Whew. In the 1970s, disposable underwear included reusable tape, and this is also when the evolution of absorbent materials were developed to stop leaks. They were pretty basic, ill-fitting, rectangular with a plastic backing, so we can thank the 1970s engineers for the dumps of diapers.
Okay.
And then finally, in the 80s and 90s, this is when we saw the development of Depends and liquid absorbing chemicals known as sodium polychromate. And this is basically what we see today, even though now it's, things have changed, but we're also going back in time to reusable and washable situations because people don't want to contribute to our landfills.
I'm actually really mad because I feel like this could have gotten better, like so much faster.
You would think.
Well, I feel enlightened and I'm also upset. I'm very upset.
I feel similarly.
I feel really bad because that seems really bad for everyone involved. Well, anyway, hello. You're listening to the Average Climber podcast. We're kind of upset about the innovative progression of adult diapers. I'm Lauren. I am a certified personal trainer and climbing coach. I'm here with my dear friend Caitlin.
I'm Caitlin. I'm a certified nutrition specialist, not adult diaper specialist, but
you maybe are now.
Now, sure
am
more
than a lot of people. I think
sure am. But today we have a really fun topic. Speaking of leaks, we're going to talk about leaks in your recovery, and what we're going to do is we are each going to share 5 ways. So 10 total ways to fix those leaks in your recovery, not your adult diaper situation, which hopefully many of us don't have to deal with for a long time. Maybe, who knows?
Okay, so, all right. The educational outcome for this episode is we want you to pick one leak that we mentioned, or maybe one thing that you are prompted to be like, that is not helping me. I need to fix that leak. And if you hate that the word leak is being associated with adult diapers in your brain now and you need that image to be cleansed, may I interest you in the Flex Seal guy? You know, the guy with like the tank of water and it's all spilling out because there's like a big hole in like the clear plastic tank, and then he takes his like Flex Seal duct tape and then he slaps it on there. Flex Seal, and then he's like, buy this shit. You can use that visual in your head, and I'm probably gonna say Flex Seal a lot. Flex Seal is not paying us. That would be cool. That's not what's happening. But neat. I want you when it's gonna light up in your head. Like when we get to the one where you're like, that's the one, you're gonna see, what the fuck is that guy's name? You're gonna see the Flex Seal guy, and you're gonna see him go, Flex Seal. I don't even know if he says that, but you're gonna like see that classic meme, and you're gonna be like, that's my Flex Seal. That's the leak I'm fixing.
That's it.
That's it.
I like it. That's a better visual.
Yeah, probably. But I love the energy. I love the tie-in.
Yeah.
All right, we're not.
It's
talking
really
about
rude how slow that development is. So,
Yeah,
folks,
yeah, we're not going to think about it anymore. Okay, okay.
ableist
So that's
society.
your
I'll say
outcome.
that.
Ableist society for sure. Yeah. Oh my god, I could go on. Okay, so you're gonna
We
pick.
digress.
We digress, but we are ungressing. We are regressing.
Ungressing.
We're progressing.
Correct.
Whatever.
Good grief. Only took 10 minutes.
Okay, you're gonna pick one outcome, one thing where you're like, I bet that is something that I could work on. And then you were gonna pick your Flex Seal, and you're gonna just try to do something. You're gonna try to use one of these fixes for like a week and just see. Next time you come to this podcast,
No judgment.
When you open up for episode 4, I want you to be able to go, okay, I tried that. Tried fixing that. Let's see how it goes. So it doesn't have to be a forever thing. I just want you to like try one of these solutions on for a week.
I love
and
it.
it can be disposable like adult diapers if it's not working. Okay, we're done. All right.
Lord.
I'm done. I'm sorry. Okay, Caitlin, do you want to start us off? So we each just have a list of 5. They are in none particular order. Caitlin, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, I would love to.
Yay.
I don't think these are spicy. You can tell me if I'm wrong. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one that I would like to share is that, we talk a lot about fueling, and obviously if you're not eating enough, that might be a big old recovery leak for you. But here's an alternative perspective that I want you all to think about very carefully. And it is that you fuel enough to meet your calories. You're like, check, I did it. But not signal fidelity, meaning your output and your inputs are still not quite in alignment. So what this might look like is maybe your calories and macros like look adequate, like things are good, you're feeling good about it, but maybe your food quality, maybe the diversity of your food, and maybe even your micronutrient density with your vitamins and minerals are low or like pretty monotonous. And there are a few reasons why this is an energy leak. Lauren, before I go dive into that, could you maybe guess why?
Because different foods. I'm about to say something very fancy. Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Well, you can tell we've been doing this for a while. Different foods do different stuff.
Correct.
Different foods do different stuff. I actually can like attest to this. Like I have recently, this is just me, but I shifted my macros more towards carbs and less towards protein, and that changed my life. I was like, oh, like when I was telling you, I was like, oh, things have been bad. And then when I remember I need more carbs, I'm like, things are better. I'm like, yes.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah. But that's exactly it, because it can be an energy leak because the body needs nutrient signals. So things like antioxidants or polyphenols, as it were, minerals, amino acids in that context. And this is to actually properly interpret energy availability. So when you have low dietary diversity, you might see impaired cellular function. This is also related to like how your cells stay balanced, or if you know the fancy term, that's redox balance, or poor adaptive signaling. So you might be a fed athlete, but a flat athlete, if that makes sense.
Okay, not to like rage about Soylent, but I just can't. You might be a boring person if all you eat is... Sorry, that's super ableist of me. I know that some people use Soylent because that's just like what they need to do, and I get that, but also...
But
here's a but. I feel like there's got to be some drawbacks to only eating Soylent. We're not doing an episode about that, but if you don't know what Soylent is, go look it up. Your brain's gonna explode.
If you are an athlete and your goal is to do gooder and you want to feel great while you're at the gym, outside, or like hopefully in your daily life, only having one monotonous meal plan, meaning like the same thing for days on end, is going to be limiting you in a way that I still think you can give some pizzazz to. So
Yeah.
here, I'm just going to give you 3 signs that maybe this is something you're experiencing as like a food for thought. So
Mm-hmm.
this might show up as like maybe you're a totally normal body weight, um your labs are normal on paper, but like you have really poor training adaptations. Maybe you have like a blunted heart rate variability. I know a lot of you wear those rings now and like little fancy
How are you
doodads on
guys
your
wearing the
wrist.
rings as climbers?
I know. I really
You're
wish I
breaking the
understood.
law.
Breaking the law. Don't that can
Breaking the
actually break your
law.
fingers,
Just
y'all.
kidding. You might just be
Um
garmining as well.
That's true. But like
That's
you might
true.
see that as a trend. Maybe you have lingering soreness. Maybe you have poor heat tolerance or even like poor cold tolerance. So just like be aware. This can affect not only like these momentary things, but like, of course, your sleep might be kind of weird. Your digestion might be a little wonky. But like anything there that you're like, oh, I'm doing what I think is sufficient, but maybe it's that maybe you're not recovering as well and you're having a little bit of a leak because there's too much monotony in your diet and not enough diversity. So like it's sufficient but maybe not 100% adequate to support you.
I think that's yeah. I know people love to use like a simple car analogy, but like we aren't
Yes.
cars. We have so like cars are turning fuel into mechanical energy, right? Like there's like
Mhm.
one process going on. Our body is doing so many different processes. Like
Yeah.
we don't just need one type of fuel. We don't need like one ingredient for all the processes. We need
So
like a
true.
lot of them. So I think this
Yeah.
is a great point where it's like maybe you're like on paper you're like I'm getting enough calories, la la la, like maybe you're even like hitting macros that feel good, but yeah, I think there's something to be said for like
Something amiss.
something amiss. Yeah, and like we said, we want you to have that kind of energy where you feel like really fucking awesome like a lot of the time, and
Yeah,
to
like
some
not
degree.
like meh a lot of the
Yeah.
time.
Caitlin, okay, question about this.
Mm.
So I have a client and I work with him and his wife, so that's funny. I
Oh,
have a
a
few of
family
those which
affair.
I love. Yes. But she reported that her husband has been eating the same breakfast every day for like years. But to me when I look at like or the same lunch, like and he can just
Okay.
do that. To me it seems like if you have like I feel like this is like a pattern because I noticed this within myself too where it's like I have very similar things for lunch, very similar things for breakfast, like largely. And then dinner is where we like switch things up. But also, I feel like my and whoever's breakfast and lunch are like, they're like balanced, right? Like, yeah, I have smoothies a lot, but I'm maybe like, but I feel like a smoothie has like good diversity, right? So, like, when you say like monotony, do you mean like, yeah, can you maybe give an example of what you might define as like
Totally.
nutrition monotony that's perhaps yeah, I don't want people to think that they need to have like a I imagine you are not
Yeah.
saying that you need to like be
Do something different every day
do
for the rest
something
of your
different every
life.
day, every meal, or
Yeah.
your energy's gonna
No.
suck. Yeah.
Yeah. No, no, no. That's a great question because yeah, let me start by saying this. I largely eat the same thing for breakfast. I might switch it up for lunch because I usually eat leftovers from the night prior. And then dinner like might look different, might have some variety. And the point is not to have something different all the time. It's to add variety where you can in easy and simple ways. So, like, let me give you an extreme case scenario of someone I've worked with in the past who said, okay, I have this same shake every day for breakfast. I have this same sandwich every day for lunch. And then at dinner, I have sweet potatoes, chicken, and broccoli. And that is what my diet looks like for the entire month.
That seems
That is,
pretty good, but also how?
it sounds fine, but I would actually say you're missing some key diversity there, because you're still only getting a subset of nutrients from that diet. Yes, it is varied, and yes, you're getting a lot of things in the day, but you're not changing the sources of those nutrients. Like, you're not getting a different type of fat, perhaps. You're not getting a different type of um, nutrient supply for like vitamin C, for example. Your protein sources are probably limited. Your body likes variety and it likes diversity to an extent. And you don't have to make huge changes there. But like, if you were like,
What
how
if
do
we
I
had
change?
asparagus instead of broccoli sometimes?
Exactly. Yeah. Asparagus instead of broccoli, or you had blueberries instead of strawberries, or you added cherries to your mix of strawberries and blueberries, and maybe instead of uh this this type of tomato at lunch, you have like a pesto spread or something, like it's adding little teeny tiny variety where you can, and like adding in different types of foods that supply different types of nutrients, because every single food supplies nutrients, but in different amounts than others, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Also, that that doesn't that whole situation doesn't spark joy to me.
Absolutely not. Yes.
Not to profile this person, but
Jim Bro.
it's giving bachelor that maybe doesn't own bookshelves and just has piles of stuff on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
I
that's
so
real. I've
do.
seen it.
I've seen it with mine own eyes.
Yeah.
um
Anyway, not to like
anyway,
just totally roast this person, but like variety is the spice of life, as they say. Okay, that's an amazing number
yes.
5. I love that.
Yes.
Have
Okay.
some fun. Have a blueberry.
Have some fun. The beat is sick. So, anyway,
Okay.
Lauren, what is your number 5? I'd love to
Okay.
hear your first energy leak.
Okay. So, one of them is social climbing sessions gone wild. Um okay, so this is something that I do within my like one-on-one coaching is I literally ask in the intake form, I'm like, is it important to you that you have time for like social climbing sessions that are more about like spending time with your friends, and you don't have to be like focused on training. And I think that is awesome. I think community and the people we get to climb with are a lot of the reasons why we get to climb. You, depending on the programming and depending on the person, typically I will tell them, I'm like, hey, you should totally like, I'll give them like, I'm like, these are your sessions, you got to get them done. But like, if you want to have a like third, fourth, whatever climbing day and you want it to be like a social session, I'm like, get after it. Have a good time. But usually I'm like, but try not to wreck yourself or add like unnecessary load for a session that maybe like lacks focus. Or if you're like, yeah. And usually they'll be like, yeah. I just want to go climb for fun. I'm not gonna like whatever. And then all of a sudden we're with the homies and we
Yeah.
stay at the gym for like 6 hours and we completely, not actually, I'm
Oops.
exaggerating, but like, yeah. So that's why I say social sessions gone wild. Because it's like sometimes clients will be like, oh, I like really am actually overdoing it in that session that's supposed to be like kind of chill, and
Mm,
it's decreasing my session quality for the sessions that are like I'm meant to be feeling
important.
good and recovered for.
Hmm.
So a couple ways to fix this energy leak, right? One is just chill the fuck out. Maybe you need to like tell your friends that your coach said, or you're like trying, you have like other sessions that you're like trying to do more properly, and you're like, for fun session really needs to like be for fun.
Dial it
And maybe
back.
you need
Yeah.
to be like maybe you need to tell yourself, you're like, I need to leave this session feeling like I did more chatting than rock climbing, and that's totally fine. For some of you that's going to be like kind of good, right? The other thing you can do is like, if you need to have a social climbing session and you like want to be able to go kind of hard or go as hard as you feel like it, just like plan for that. Like plan that you can't, that you like will need a rest day or two after your like big Saturday session with the boys, right? Like that's totally fine. But just like don't, if you're like doing a training plan, but you have like a wild card day. Sometimes I call it wild card day. Sometimes I call it like climb for fun day. And you're like, I need to have a climb for fun day, or I need to have a session where I just like go to the gym and fuck around on the new set. That's usually a thing too, where people are like, I will go to the gym. It's like you have to have the session where you just get it out of your system to be like, I got to try all the new boulders or I'm going to freak out
Yeah.
and not be able to like focus. That's totally fine. But just like
Yes.
plan for that, like anticipate that instead of being like, it's so weird how my limit bouldering session always sucks because I climb for fun on Saturday and try to limit boulder on Sunday. Just speaking of, if you're like, interesting, are we talking about session order? Hold that thought. So that's my first thing is like be mindful of these social sessions if you're like on a training plan and you're trying to have days that are focused and also have days that are like less focused. Like try to anticipate, either reel it in or anticipate that you're going to go buck wild and like plan for either one. So
okay, question.
Yeah.
What excuse me, question with a side of choking. What if every day is a social climbing day? Like, what would somebody do if like their gym, it's like, wow, 6 p.m. and we're ready to party? Like,
yeah, okay, yeah. If your gym is like always
bonkers,
if you're like club going up on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, if that's how your gym feels. Okay. So the other thing too, right, is like bottom line, this is a bonus tip. If you want to get better at rock climbing, having training sessions with this is not necessarily about energy leaks, but I think it's just an important thing to lay out. If you want to get better at rock climbing, you will get better faster if you have training sessions that have some kind of focus. This does not have to be super complicated, right? Like for a lot of people, if you're like newer to climbing, if you have never trained before, if you go, literally you go 1 day a week, I'm going to actually work on rock climbs that are hard for me. And then another day a week, you go, I'm going to try to do a lot of climbing volume. If you have a day that's for hard moves and a day for doing a lot of volume, and maybe you even warm up with a couple of movement drills at the top of those sessions, like that is going to be a lot better. And actually, I talk a lot about that. Let me remind myself. I will link you all to, I have a library of like 20 something training plan makeovers that I've done over the years. So I'm going to link you all to that if you're just like interested in what it looks like to make simple tweaks to what you're doing to get more progress out of the sessions that you're already doing. So that honestly, like if you're just like looking for progress, having your sessions have a focus is going to be good. But yes, so yes, my first tip is definitely angled at people that are engaging with some kind of focused training. Yeah.
okay.
So I will link you all to training plan makeovers if you're like, what does that mean? What's that about? I will link you all to it and you can kind of do a little deeper dive. And I bet you will find someone that I have done a makeover for where you're like, that reminds me a lot of me. So good question.
Okay. Sick.
Okay. What's your number 4?
Okay. My number 4 is carbohydrate adequacy without metabolic flexibility. So what this might look like is...
Wait, will you translate that for people that want to know what that means?
So metabolic flexibility is essentially your body's capacity to swap between carbs and fats, really basically as an energy source.
Okay.
And so the idea is that when you are... Hold on, I think I will explain this. So it's like when you are... Let me just give you a good example.
Okay. I did not know that's what metabolic flexibility meant. That is like not... Well, that's actually great.
Yeah, let me give you like a very easy, straightforward explanation. So like, let's say somebody is a keto person. They're eating a keto diet for like a while. They overemphasize their fat burning capacity for energy, and
Mm.
their ability to use carbs for energy is diminished because they're prioritizing fats by
So they're
like
metabolically inflexible.
correct.
They metabolically can't touch their toes, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
they metabolically can't touch their toes with carbs, but metabolically can touch their toes with fats.
Yes.
No, that I'm
So
mixing metaphors. I'm sorry. Go
no,
on. Okay.
you've pretty much got the gist of it.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
And also what you might see is someone who like essentially you want to be able to use carbs as long as possible to fuel something you're doing, and then give your body time to produce fat for energy. So essentially what this might look like is like maybe you have an athlete, or maybe you are an athlete who is eating carbs, but you rely on this really narrow carb window, or
Mm.
really like highly processed, like quick sources of carbs only.
Ah, okay.
So this is an energy leak because it's an over reliance on rapid glucose spikes. So like this might look like if you're somebody who doesn't eat a lot of carbs in your daily diet, but you eat like candy right before your session, maybe you have really poor fat oxidation or the breakdown of fat for energy. So your fat oxidation capacity at sub max intensities is poor.
Okay.
Um, Maybe you have increased sympathetic tone during training. So you might be like a little bit more likely to be like stressed out. Um,
Oh, okay.
so this is not what we'd call a low carb problem or a high carb problem, but it might be more of a metabolic inflexible problem, or it could even be because mitochondria are where a lot of energy is produced. This might be a
The powerhouse of
mitochondrial
the
flex.
cell.
It sure
Sorry.
is.
I have to say it. You
My-
gotta say it.
I know.
You
I
gotta
had a
say it, or the
feeling.
mitochondria will go away in your body to get
Yeah,
mad.
they
You like
disappear
recognition.
completely.
Yes.
But you might have a mitochondrial flexibility problem. So athletes in this scenario might report like feeling wired but tired, or
Oh.
they might have energy crashes mid session, or maybe they have like difficulty training across different like intensity zones. So like if you go from one day, like maybe you're trying to push your power output and you've just got no gas, but then the next day you feel like pretty okay doing like, some endurance work. Like it that's where you might start to see it. So that can be a
Okay.
huge energy leak.
Interesting. Okay. Question. So I'm imagining this example of the person that like kind of doesn't eat a lot of carbs throughout the day and then just like has candy before their session.
Yes.
Why wouldn't your body like get better at using that? Like, would it or no?
So it depends. The most annoying answer in the world. But ultimately, in that scenario, you're relying on a glucose spike for
Okay.
energy versus your body having the capacity to like pull its own energy from other sources.
Your body just kind of learns, like, if you're going to do an activity, to just be like, oh, well, we'll probably get some candy. So we'll just like do
Yeah,
that.
we'll probably get some sugar, so we'll use that and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So,
But then it's probably
yeah,
like not enough to deal with the fact that you like haven't had like
like enough
glycogen
throughout the
going to your
day,
muscles all day kind of thing.
right? Because like
Interesting.
as you increase your intensity, like there's a really good chart that maybe we can slap on the screen when we're on YouTube, or we can also put it in the notes. But essentially, like if you're in a race, that's probably the best way to describe it. Like you want to be able to use carbs as long as possible, even when you're like trying to go a long distance, because like your fat is going to be what keeps you energized throughout, but
Yeah.
your carbohydrates are what is like the easiest to produce and the easiest for your body to access when it has access to it.
Basically, it's like making your body use fat is kind of making your body do energy production on hard mode versus
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like, you and I are using fat right now, just sitting here because, like, at submaximal and like rest positions, like submaximal intensities and rest, your body is using fat because you don't need it that rapidly. It's just like
okay.
powering you slower. It provides a lot of
Okay.
energy, but at a slower rate. So if your body is relying on those glucose spikes, you probably are going to feel like you're drained mid-session because your body's like, "Well, wait, I didn't get it. I didn't get my spike."
Okay. If I had to like make an analogy, it's almost like we
Mm-hmm.
have like a long burning candle, which is like our body just like slowly burning fat, kind of constantly to just like keep things
Yeah.
going. But if we want to feel really good, maybe we want like, okay, maybe we are going to use like a sparkler, like a really long sparkler.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
so having
yeah.
some like slow burning carbs on top of that is like a sparkler, which is going to make us like burn brighter and sparklier. And then maybe the like candy is more like having some fireworks before your
Right.
training session or something that's like really quick carbs, like, you know, some
Yes.
like a peach or something like super sugary, yada yada. Like,
Mm-hmm.
also peaches are so good. I'm not saying super sugary
So
in a
good.
derogatory way at all. Like, so good. Okay, that's really interesting. So bottom line is you maybe want to have, bottom line is like, if you're not having carbs very often, you might be like hampering your metabolic flexibility, and that could be making you feel kind of blah. Okay, how would you fix that leak? Like, if you were giving someone like 1 to 2 bullet
Yeah.
points of like how to fix that.
How to fix that is just make sure your carbohydrates are spread evenly throughout your day. Like,
Okay.
realistically, I know a lot of people might have more carbs at one meal versus another, but like, have adequate carbs because if, like, I always try to say, if you have like a low or a high carb diet, it's like that can also, it's a spectrum. That's what I'm trying to say. If
Mm-hmm.
if you eat low carbs throughout the day, but you're not in ketosis, there's no benefit there. So you're just like, you're not getting the benefit of carbs and satiating you, but you're also not like in ketosis, so your body's not like primed to use fat for energy. So it's better to spread them evenly and adequately throughout the day. You can do that just by like gently tracking for a week, could be one of those ways that you just like look at how your carbs trend over the days. Like, on average, how many carbs are you getting? You can like honestly pull up a little like calculator and go beep beep, how many carbs am I supposed to eat every day roughly, and see how it matches to like
What you're
what
actually
you're
doing.
actually getting. um it can be hard to identify that pattern if it is low, or insufficient. But I would say, all in all, like, if you're hearing me say this and you go, oh, I definitely don't eat them spread throughout the day. Like, I don't have carbs at lunch, or I rarely have carbs at dinner. Like, that is a really easy way for you to say, like, okay, I will try to have a bit more carbs spread throughout my eating window during the day, and try that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Love it. All
Okay.
right.
You're
Let me do
number
my
4.
four. Okay. So you heard me mention session order. Um, and this is gonna be a big one.
Ooh.
So honestly, like, I could give 2 people the same program, like the same program. And if I gave one person a program where the session order is like really good, like it's like on you go into like XYZ session rested, then you do this session when you're maybe a little more tired, blah, blah, blah. If I gave person A that like optimized version and then I gave person B, I would never do this, but I just lied to them and told them the completely wrong order for doing things, even if they did the exact same number of sessions, blah blah blah. Person A, I guarantee you would have way better outcomes. Like the
Okay.
order in which you do things is important. Am I saying that you have to do it perfectly all the time? Fuck no. Sometimes your schedule is going to be whatever, and you're going to be like, the best thing I can do is be 3 days on and get kind of wrecked. I get it. But if you know what good looks like when it comes to the way you order stuff within your sessions and also within how you like plan out your week, gonna be way better. Honestly, training plan makeovers are gonna be like another great place for you to learn a lot about session order, because a lot of what I do in these makeovers is just be like, what you're doing's good. The order in which you're doing them is bad. And then I just like reorganize some things. So okay, let me give you some like very simple rules of thumb for this.
Okay.
And this is extremely general. In rare cases, I might tell you to change this depending on your training priorities, but I'm talking rare. I'm talking like less than 5% of the time in my coaching do I ever advise against these general rules of thumb. Okay. So rule of thumb number 1 is like high skill stuff when high skill first.
Okay.
Basically like, so things that require a lot of skill, a lot of focus, a lot of coordination.
Okay.
You want to do that
Mental
stuff like,
and physical skill.
yes, you want to do
Got
that
it.
first in your session. And not that like weightlifting or like strength training doesn't require skill. It totally does. I'm not saying that like powerlifting is just a simple sport, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of like complexity, coordination, all the things, like if you want to get better at rock climbing, you want to be fresh for the rock climbing part. So generally
Imagine that.
speaking, imagine that. So generally speaking, unless like you have some kind of crazy schedule constraint, I would really prefer you, if you're like doing 2 things in a session or you're doing like a 2 a day, I would, apart from the fact that some people just like morning climbing sessions are just god awful and that's just like not working. Some people it's like way easier to lift in the morning and do a climbing session at night. I'll put an asterisk by that. But typically you're going to be better off if you can, we'll come back to that example, but largely high skill stuff first, strength stuff at the end, like things that are lower skill at the end. Second thing, okay, so I talked about these two there's like, if I had to make a broad sweeping generalization, there's like 3 types of climbing sessions. Broad sweeping generalization about this. So this is a lot more than that, but like 3 general types. There's climbing sessions where you're doing moves that are really hard and maybe working on like high power output type stuff. This largely, I'm going to say this is like bouldering, like hard bouldering sessions. Okay. Then we have our like endurance type sessions. The point of these sessions is to build fatigue and deal with fatigue and get better at being fatigued. Okay. So we have like endurance sessions. These can happen pretty much on like ropes or boulders. There's different ways to slice it. Your power endurance will fall into this. All the things. So we've got like hard moves, high power output, endurance, more fatigue. There's shades in between. Remember, we're generalizing. The last one is we just have kind of like a low intensity session. And this might even be like a low intensity like skill session where maybe we just like work on certain skills, but we bring like the difficulty of the climbing like way down. Right. So this is going to be like more chill. This is going to be like you fucking around on warm up boulders and trying to like climb them better or like play with different movement concepts. So these are like our 3 types of climbing sessions. Okay. You want to be, Caitlin, which one do you think you want to be like the most recovered for?
Number 1.
Yes. Okay. You want to be really recovered for these, like, if your goal is like high power output, again, there's like some circumstances where I would change these rules, but I'm trying to give you all the basics. Okay. There's going to be sessions where like high power output is important and I want you to be rested for those. Okay. For our sessions where the goal is like deal with fatigue, you can be a little bit tired. This is a great thing to do as like your second climbing day on. Or if you want to have that buck wild social session and then the next day do your like endurance oriented session, hell yeah, that's fine. If the point is like dealing with fatigue and you show up a little bit tired for your dealing with fatigue type session, who gives a fuck? It's fine. Like yeah, you'll probably have like better session quality if you like are recovered for that too, and it will probably like suck less, but like you can still get what you needed to out of the session if you are a little bit tired, broadly speaking. Low intensity skills, that's lower intensity. Like you'll still want some like mental acuity for that, but like lower intensity sessions you can be kind of like wrecked from. If I was someone that was going to do strength training in the morning and a session at night, I would probably do either low intensity skills or maybe that session that's more about like endurance or fatigue. Okay. So,
Makes sense.
yeah. So that's kind of like things to think about, right? So session, or also if you're going to like pair this with other sports, just be mindful, like you probably don't want to like go for a run or something before trying to have like a high power output climbing session. Caitlin, I'm sure you can imagine just like you go for a run, you deplete all your muscle glycogen, and then you go, okay, muscles, hopefully you
Time to
find some
go.
glycogen that's nowhere. And then you'll have nothing to be snappy with. That won't be good.
Nailed it.
So yeah, so like poor session order I think like gets people, and then once you like start to realize that that's important and play with that, it's life changing. So there you
Okay.
have it. Okay, so that's my number 4. All right, Caitlin, what's your number 3? Or any questions about that one? I'm like, we probably got to get cranking. I think we can do this one in an hour and 15. I think we can do it.
We'll see.
We'll
we're
see.
real
I
chatty
believe in
gals,
us.
so
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. No questions. I think that makes sense. And there are many times I've been like, oh wow, I'm doing stuff in the wrong order. Here we go.
Oh yeah, and there's times where I'm like, the way that the cookie is crumbling is I have to do some bad stuff.
Things are crumbling hard in front of me.
And I know it's going to be bad,
eyes.
and then it is.
And,
but we do it anyway. So
at least you're predictable.
Yep.
Okay. So my number 3 is fueling patterns that reinforce stress physiology. So what this what this might look like is like, again, technically adequate fueling layered
this is
on
almost like the poor
of...
session order of nutrition.
Yes.
Seems. Go on. You're like,
Exactly.
technically you checked all the boxes in the day, but the way you did it was distressing.
Was fucking bad. So this is when it's layered on top of a dependence on caffeine. Maybe you have super long gaps in between your meals. Maybe you went into training fasted and you're already stressed out. And this is an energy leak for a few reasons. This is it reinforces the HPA axis strain, which just means that the HPA axis is your hypothalamus, pituitary, and your adrenals. And that is like your neuroendocrine feedback loop that signals like stress, relaxation. It's like kind of that system that drives that process. So it reinforces that strain, keeps you at like a stressed out level. It increases your reliance on like stress hormones, but also stress neurotransmitters rather than like the carbs and fats that are available. So your body might be literally running on empty, but using catecholamines or like those stress inducer neuroendocrine molecules to give you a boost of energy. And then it also can reduce training efficiency over time, which like obviously is not great. So usually athletes often say if they're in this like energy leak zone, it's I can get through it, but I don't bounce back anymore. And you're like, well, duh.
Oh my God.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just listen here. I'll out myself. This is what I did yesterday. I was like, okay, I don't want to talk about my toenails too much on this fucking podcast, but the background is that I've started training for my gigantic, insane trail race. I started, January 20th was day 1 of training. The trail race is at the end of July. And I had to get my toenails, both of my big toenails taken off last week because of the way that it is. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that, but I can't really like run because it kind of hurts. I can like run a little bit, but I'm like, I've just got my fucking toenails ripped off. So
like obviously it hurts. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like the best yet. So I was like, oh, I'm just like walking on the treadmill. I don't need that much. So I had like 1 pack of fruit snacks like in the hour before. And then I was like, I'm sure these have a bunch of carbs. And then I looked and I was like, oh, these have 15 grams of carbs. You're an idiot. And then I like had some. I was like, oh, I'm not feeling great. I'll have another like pack of them. And I had like another pack, like, and then I like, I don't know, walked on the treadmill for like an hour and I like kicked up the
You had a
incline
sad
to
girl
just like
walk.
feel something. I had a sad girl walk. I did like 1,000 feet of vert and got kind of sweaty. And then I was like lightheaded and nauseated at the end. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's so weird. I like had carb snacks. And then I like was like, let me just do like a triage of my day. And I was like, oh, you had like not enough carbs in like the couple hours before you like exerted yourself. And then at dinner, you crushed every ounce of angel hair pasta that was a side note. Oh my God, we made this like salmon angel hair pasta situation. Shout out New York Times cooking app. It was so fucking good. But anyway,
I just saw that.
Oh my God, you should make it. You should make it.
Okay.
It's so good.
Okay.
So good. Yeah.
I literally just saw that. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was
Thanks,
so good.
Michael.
But anyways, I was like, you were like eating cake, like, and usually I'm better about this, but yesterday I was like, oh, I don't think I'll need that much. Like, it's just a walk. But then of course, like, it wasn't just a walk because I made it slightly harder, and also I'm a little bit
like,
out of practice.
you can do nothing
with the
simply.
Yes. Yeah. So, or I like just couldn't let it be a chill walk because like that was honestly getting really boring. It's like a treadmill. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, if I took some of that pasta carb and put it like not after
all at
I
the
needed
end.
it,
Yes.
that would have been like a cool thing for me to do. So anyway, yeah. That's
that's
great.
a perfect example. Yeah. Balance, y'all. That's what we're preaching. So
I think that is good. Other thing I want to call out that just reminded me, like kind of like what we talked about in episode 1 and episode 2 is like going to your training session feeling stressed and crazy.
Yeah.
Because your body's like, guess I'll give you some cortisol because you haven't really given me much to work with.
Yeah.
Like,
you're like, here you go.
Good. Yeah, I think like keeping your body like calm and not feeling like it's in a famine throughout the day is probably like kind of good. So
kind of awesome, actually.
I love that. That's
100%.
Beautiful.
Okay, Lauren. Number 3. What you got?
Number 3. Okay, number 3 is like semi-related to my first one, but number 3 is just like junk volume. And I kind of, part of me hates this phrase because I think sometimes people will use it to be like, anytime you get overtired in climbing, like that's not useful. You should like, there's some people that live in a philosophy of climbing coaching that's like, you should always leave your sessions with some gas in the tank. You should like never overdo it, yada, yada, yada. I think that has its place. I also think there are times in your climbing, like I had a client that was like, mainly my climbing trips are, I want to be feeling really ready to be able to climb kind of hard 3 days in a row. And guess what is a good way to train for that? Climbing or doing hard stuff 3 days in a row, right? Yeah. So there's like a spectrum to this. Because like there are some things that people would call like junk volume or like overdoing it or like blah, blah, blah that actually have like genuine athlete. You know, if you're training for 24 hours of horseshoe hell, that's going to look like junk volume. Right?
Yeah.
But like it's a fucking junk volume competition. So like, just kidding. No, it's a very cool competition. But like, right? So it's all like a different thing. The junk volume I'm more talking about is like, A of all, you should be aware of the amount of volume that's like effective for your goals. And also every training phase is going to have like a different thing going on, right? So if you're in a phase where it's like, this is more about like building strength and being really recovered for sessions and having high quality climbing sessions. And then you like do your training and then go, you know what? Lauren programmed my stuff, but I don't feel totally tired, even though she told me I should leave this session not feeling super tired. You know what I'm going to go do? 3 sets of 10 pull-ups. Jail. Junk volume, right to jail. No, like there's a reason.
Jail.
Yeah, like inside of the crew, what I've started doing with the programming is I've literally started being like, I want you to feel no more, like I give people like a level of tired range, like XYZ out of 10 for each session. Some sessions I'm like, feel more tired. Other sessions I'm like, you'll walk out of the gym being like, could do more, but I'm gonna. So anyway, like that's one thing to think about. But the junk volume I'm talking about is almost like, and we're gonna get into this when we talk about like technical and tactical energy leaks. But some junk volume is just like chucking yourself at the wall without thinking. Okay? Like if you're working on a project and
Never
you're
done
like, oh,
that.
I'm just gonna like
Just fucking do
rest
it.
for a whole minute and then just
Wow.
go again and not think about how to make it better than the last time. It's like, what
I'm
the
going to
fuck?
rage my way through, which
Yeah,
we've
please,
learned.
quality
No.
attempts, people. So that's like kind of what I'm talking. That's more of the junk volume. That's the other faster junk volume I'm talking about, where it's like more like junk attempts. There's junk volume. There's junk attempts. Make your attempts not
Interesting.
junk. Like if I popped up to you in the gym with a microphone and I was like, hey, it looks like you fell off the crux or whatever the fuck on this, that, your last go with this. What are you going to try to do differently on this next attempt? And then if you're like, I don't know, I never thought about that. That was a
Turns
mix. That was
into
like if Forrest
bad
Gump was
cock
British.
role.
Yeah. I'd be like, that's not good. So don't do that.
Yeah. We
So
can
that's junk.
also, I think it'd be really fun to if we observe this in ourselves or others, we can be like, okay, I'm going to put myself or you in junk jail. Go sit over
Junk
there.
jail.
You're in junk
Yes.
jail.
Stay out of junk jail.
Uh,
Purposeful. Okay, so I think that one's like pretty obvious, but that's like a pretty big energy
intentionality.
leak. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I like from my experience where this comes out when I get really fucking angry that I can't do something. So I'll come off and just be like, I'm just gotta do it again. And then it goes even worse. And I'm like, I suck. And that's when my shoes go flying. And when the rage meter is like
Yeah.
breaking the end of the spectrum. So
I will say there are times where like if a move is just requires like a certain weird coordination and you like sometimes it is reasonable to like
yeah.
rapid fire a move a few times in a row if you're like, I'm kind of annoyed, but also I'm almost getting it. Like
Yeah.
doing that a few times can be good, but like you just got to be aware of also like if you're doing like a rapid fire of like one single move that's like right off the ground on like a boulder or something a couple of times to be like, I think I'm getting the coordination. I'm just like not whatever.
Right.
But then you have like, maybe it's like your third or fourth like rapid fire of just like this one single move, but then the quality declines a lot. Just back the fuck up. You've done all you can. It's time to just like rest. But like there is something to be said for like the couple rapid fires, but just like have a purpose and think about it. You're a human, not a feral dog. So climb like one, So that's my thought there about junk volume and junk attempts.
I love that.
Sweet.
I have found that like setting a timer really helps me not go to junk jail.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Agree. Yeah. Sometimes I even bring a little this is so fucking nerdy. But like how if you like you're like you just like spend too much time on your phone or whatever, or like you don't want to look at your phone. Yeah, I just bring like I have like these little like, oh yeah, I have it right here on my desk. I bring these fuckers to the gym. I have one of these in my climbing. I have these in my climbing bag, and sometimes I'm like, we're just gonna look at this, and
we're gonna go a little old school, but it works great.
Yep. Yeah. So there you have it. Okay, Caitlin, number 2.
Okay, number 2. This is subclinical micronutrient drag. So not getting enough micronutrients.
I love that mine are like, you're doing junk, and you're like subclinical micronutrient Dracula. And I'm like, yeah.
You are your own vampire, energy vampire. Yeah, I know. Yes. I went a little nerdy on this.
No, I'm so glad. It's a good contrast.
I've been doing a lot of like writing and research for my technical writing gigs, and so this is the way my brain is now. This
is good.
Okay. So what this might actually look like if you're like, the fuck did you just say? This is again where your labs are normal, but your nutrients are maybe at the low end of what's optimal, especially for athletes. And the reason that this is an energy leak is because as an athlete, you need more of everything. You just need more nutrients. Like you need more iron, you need more B12, magnesium, you need selenium and copper and iodine. Like you need all of these things because they help regulate your energy production, how your oxygen is delivered to your working cells, and also how your thyroid is signaling too, because that plays a big role in your athletic capacity. But even a mild insufficiency can increase your energy cost per unit of work. So this might show up something like maybe you have reduced power at the same rate of perceived exertion. Maybe you really suck at adapting to altitude. Maybe you have excessive fatigue from what you might call an easy session. Like you're doing it all in the right order, but no matter what, everything feels suck. And then athletes in this area might need like more rest days than they expect to need. So it's like it may not show up, and your doctor might be like, oh, everything's fine. Like it all looks good. But then you're like on the low end. And that's kind of your indicator. Like if you're feeling like this, you might be like, oh, I think that could be a little bit of an energy leak. Like I want to bump this up slightly.
I have a question because I feel like this reminds me of, when you just get to a certain age and then your doctor just goes, oh, that's just part of getting older. Like,
yeah,
do you feel like this could fall into that
it is.
category where it's like, you're like,
Yeah.
I'm like 42. Like, yeah, I'm
I
not
ain't
like a
that
spring
old.
chicken, but like, I don't think that
I'm not in the grave yet.
I don't think, yeah, you can just like, just fucking write me off like that, doc. Like, fuck you. Like, like, could this be
yeah.
could this be something to look at potentially if you're like, I'm feeling blah and my labs are like, okay, but they
Yeah.
could be
Like
better.
I think one of the most frustrating things I hear my clients say is like, well, everything looks normal, but I don't feel normal. And no one is listening to me. If you don't feel normal and you don't feel right, chances are you're not just sitting there making it up in your own like dreamland. Chances are you don't feel good and there's something going on. And I think it is important to have somebody listen to you if you say like, I realize that this is like my labs look okay, but I am experiencing all of these things and I'm a really active person and I want to feel good, but I just don't. That's
Yeah.
like be your own advocate there, because yeah, that's
Right.
like the
And
worst
like,
feeling.
I think when you're like a recreational athlete, but you're like, okay, here's like the distinction I want to make, because I've seen people. I saw this like shit on the internet and it made me so mad. Classic.
What's
Wonder
new?
why I'm off social media. But it was just someone talking about like, I don't know, running like a reasonably sized trail race or something like that. And this person was just like, I'm so sick of everyone just like calling themselves athletes because they're just like doing whatever. Like, not everyone's an athlete, like blah, blah,
Whatever.
blah. And like, okay, here's the distinction I'm making in my brain. If you are engaging in some kind of athletic pursuit where your goal is to get measurably better at it, like if you're like, sure, I started climbing last year, but I want to be able to climb like V5 in the gym within 2 or 3 years of climbing, you're an athlete because you are trying to make athletic progression. You're not just like, and no shade, because like, listen, life's hard enough. And if you're like someone listening to this that's like, yeah, I don't care about that. I'm just trying to like be active and like do something. And like, you're
Mm-hmm.
probably not listening to this podcast if you're not like someone that would consider themselves an athlete, or at least
Right,
like someone
right.
that I would consider an athlete. But
Yeah.
like Gen Pop that isn't like trying to get better at rock climbing or whatever is like, there's just different things you need to be able to like have an energized life where you can like roll up to like a Pilates class like a couple times a week and like have a fun time. Like, it's very different than like
Yeah. Different mindset,
different
different
mindset, different
intention.
thing. And like, just like, if you are going for progression and trying to like make athletic strides, or just be able to like do sports that like demand a lot of you, or demand you to be outside all day, or like demand you to be up in the mountains all day, or like blah blah blah, you're an athlete and you are asking more of your body than maybe what, like, okay, I think like the like standards I imagine that doctors are using are just like a range that's like pretty good and means you're healthy, not a range
Yeah,
that's like you are ready to go kick ass and take names. Like, I think it's just different.
exactly.
So if you're on the
Yeah.
low end of like gen pop
Yeah,
different than
perhaps think about that. And like one of the, I don't want to say this is an easy fix because there's so much involved, but like one of the most simplified things I'll suggest to my clients without overhauling their diet or without making changes in their lifestyle and their training, get a really high quality multivitamin that includes vitamins and minerals from a reputable company. By that, I mean one that is third party tested, good manufacturing practices. It, you don't want like a whole bunch of like extras in there, but you want to make sure that it's like high quality.
bonus
That's
points
a
if it's shaped like a gummy bear.
Absolutely. Live your life. Live
I
your
hope
best
that
life.
exists. Yeah, because
Yeah, they do. But I think there's
it's
a lot to be
beautiful.
said about athletes taking a multivitamin. I do think,
Yeah.
like, I know a lot of other RDs and CNSs who work with athletes might be like, no supplements. But like, I think there's something to be said about making sure your bases are covered. Like, listen, there are going to be gaps even in the best diets in the whole wide world. Like, that's just the way it works. And if you are noticing that your energy is not 100% where you'd like it to be, perhaps that is a simple addition in your daily life. And it doesn't have to be super expensive to be high quality. That's the other thing I'll say.
Yeah. I love that.
Okay.
Okay, sweet.
All right.
Okay. My
Moving
number
on.
2. So, my number 2 is just like plain and simple. You are not using auto regulation in your training at all. Look at me. I used a big word. Okay, so look, I have big words too. Just kidding. Okay, so if you're like, what the fuck is auto regulation? Auto regulation is simply just an approach to training where you listen to your body, but in like a more formalized way. I remember the first time I heard about auto regulation, like way back before I was a coach, and I was like, oh, that just seems like listening to your body. Like, aren't we supposed to do that all the time? I don't get why this is like a separate process. It's not the same though, because auto regulation, there are like um I'll give you an example. I'm going to dig into this like much deeper in a future episode in this series, but autoregulation is the use of rate of perceived exertion. I use this a lot when I'm, for example, this is like one autoregulation technique that you might use. So, rate of perceived exertion is just like how hard it feels to you on a scale of 1 to 10. But Lauren, isn't that kind of subjective? Isn't that sort of like vibes based? Yeah, it is. And that's a good thing. That's a
Yes.
good thing. So yes, because okay, let me give you a very simple like auto regulation example, right? Like let's say I have a day where I do squats, like I do like barbell back squats. One day I go do my barbell back squats, and maybe the day before I had a rest day. What feels like RPE 8 on that day, I am probably going to use like a reasonably high weight. That's probably going to be like a pretty good day for my squat for RPE 8. Okay, and let's just for shits and giggles, let's call my RPE 8 like 100, like 5 reps at 135 pounds would be like RPE 8 for that day. Again, I'm going to go deeper into this elsewhere. So that's like where we're at. Okay, now let's say I go on like a big fun hike with my friends, and then I'm like in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I'm like, okay, well, the way that my schedule is looking this week, I need to do my squats today, or it's not happening. Whatever. Not ideal, but sure. My RPE 8 probably going to be different. I bet you would be more like, I don't know, maybe my 5 reps at RPE 8 is going to look more like 110 pounds. Still both RPE 8. We are still going for that level of intensity, but the amount of weight I can use is down because I am more fatigued from my hike. And so that's like how, because yes, obviously we want to listen to our body, but it's good to have more formal like
Yeah.
strategies for that are
Yep.
somewhat numerical, even though they are subjective. So there's a lot of different auto regulation strategies, kind of like what I told you before too, about how inside my membership, the crew, I will tell people like, hey, the overall session RPE, like how hard this session should feel, I don't want you going over a 7. So maybe you need to like pick easier like if you go into that session super tired and you're like, okay, I'm not supposed to go over 7. So usually if I'm doing V6 boulders for my projects, but I'm feeling kind of tired, maybe that day you're doing V4 or V5 boulders so that you're hitting that session RPE of 7. And it applies to everything. And like, yes, it is subjective, but it is a way better way of operating. And that's the point. Yeah, you being forced to get in tune with how your body feels and trying to put a number on it is going to make you more intentional with the intensity that you're selecting, the volume you're doing, all the things. So if you use auto regulation and you get good at that, you are going to recover better because you are going to be less likely to, like, a good kind of like adage that you'll hear coaches say is that it's like, it'd be better for you to go like underdo it by 20% all the time than overdo it by 10% all the time. Is like a good way to think about it. So if you auto regulate, you're going to be more likely to like get the intensity right, be able to recover better between your sessions, not have to take as many rest days, not have a pile up of fatigue, yada, yada. So
neuroregulation with a little bit of nuance.
Yes.
Extra nuance.
Exactly.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Super cool.
Okay. Number 1, Caitlin. What's your number one?
Made it. Look at us. Okay. So for all of you who have tummy aches, but you're being really brave about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This last energy leak is what I call the gut-brain immune energy diversion. So this might look like athletes who train through mild GI discomfort or symptoms. They have food sensitivities, or maybe there's like some chronic low-grade inflammation situation happening. And this is an energy leak. I mean, I'm sure if I like Lauren, when you were experiencing tummy stuff, like I'm sure going into training was like this whole extra thing that you were like, fuck, I'm wrecked.
Oh, yeah. Trying to train with a stomach ache was nightmare fuel. Or I would just have to skip training because my stomach felt really bad. Or I'd be like, cool, I'm so hungry, but I know if I like eat, I'm probably going to get a stomach ache. Or if I eat like the amount that I want to eat, it will make me feel bad. Yeah, it was not good.
Right. So like it's like a very obvious energy leak, right? Like your body is literally like pulling your energy to this like source of pain, but also what is happening is your immune system might be activated, which then diverts energy. So like glucose, even amino acids, micronutrients to those sources that need it. So not to your working body.
Right. If we're imagining our pipe analogy that we made, you have a leak where it's just like your energy is like, oh, I got to go fix this like fucked up shit in your gut. So that won't be going to your climbing session. So sorry.
Correct. That's just bad. Overflowing there.
Yeah.
Our bad. If you have some, let's say, like if you have increased intestinal permeability, so that's just like leaky gut, like if you've got some stuff going on there, this can also increase your body's cortisol demand to try to heal that.
No.
Can also reduce your ability to recover and sleep.
Yeah.
Essentially,
if you have hot girl tummy, you should fix that.
Yeah, fix it. Because this is not just about like digestion. This is about this is like systemic energy allocation and how your body is delivering nutrients. So I see this a lot in my athletes who are under a lot of stress. Collegiate athletes, that's a big one. But also
so
like
much homework, so much practice, so much hot girl tummy. That's so sad.
So sad. But I also see this in my adult athletes who are really, really, really stressed at work. And then they try to go into work or into climbing and they're just like tanked, like they've been subsisting on coffee all week. I see this in perfectionists. I also see this in athletes who are calorically neutral. So like they're their calories are okay, but not in recovery positive states. So maybe they're not meeting their maybe they're not auto regulating calories, but also maybe they're not getting like the extra nuanced version of nutrients coming in.
Yeah. I would also say, like, isn't it true that if you do have some kind of like gut issue, that you might be like your intake might be like what it's supposed to be, but your body is just
Not
bad at
absorbing.
processing it and not
Yeah,
actually absorbing it, which is also
right.
a problem.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, I
there's a
think
whole
that happened.
issues.
That's like a H. pylori thing, right? That was my
Yes.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that didn't help
Mhm.
me. Yeah, it was bad. It's a bad time.
Not great. Real
Fix your
bad.
hot girl tummy.
Fix your hot
You'll
girl
be
tummy.
happy.
This one, I can't necessarily say do this and you'll feel better, but this is your
No.
reminder that if you're one thing you do this week is you're like, "Hello, my doctor. I am having
Yeah. Yeah, like
hot girl
we're dealing
tummy.
with this. It's
I
not
would like to
normal.
explore this." That
Yeah.
is a really good opportunity to ask them because perhaps they will refer you out to a GI specialist, or they will say, "Hello, have you met my good friend therapist?"
Yeah. Hopefully
So,
they are that woke. But yeah, I think that
yeah, it could be a nutrition thing. There's so much at play here. So if you're like, I don't even know where to start, um, happy to give my 2 cents and where I am in the scope of it being able to help. I will
yeah,
also support you in this capacity.
incredible. Yes.
Okay, Lauren, round us out with your number one, please.
Okay, number 1 is like listening to the training calendar more than to your body. I remember when
Ooh.
I was a more time constrained person because of the way that it is, and also when I was a very perfectionistic 24-year-old. I remember listening to a podcast, and I forget who it even was, but this woman was talking about how she kind of like would very much like change up her training or would like switch what sessions she was doing based on how her body felt. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. You just
You
follow
can
the
do that?
fucking calendar. You can do that. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. What do you mean? What do you mean? You just do what the fucking calendar says. Like how your body feels, be damned. Just like force it.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that that is not necessarily the best way to operate. So, and I'm gonna dig. A lot of these are like a lot of these points I'm making are like previews of me deep diving this further. But like, okay, bottom line, if you're like supposed to do a certain training session and you're like, we are very something's up.
Something ain't right.
You have a couple options. One, you can be flexible with this, but like one option is you skip your session and you kind of like reorganize the week and yada yada. Okay, that's one option. Option 2 is like you still do the session, but maybe you like pare it down, or per auto regulation, you like adjust the difficulty, intensity, volume, blah, blah, blah. Or option 3, this can be a good one too, is like if you're like, I don't know if I'm up to doing my like super hard power output session today, but maybe I'll be able to get myself to do like another thing. Like go ahead and do your regular warm up, like warm up off the wall, do a few warm up climbs, yada, yada, then decide after that like what you're going to do. Because I know some of you, you're like, listen, I have to like organize childcare. It's like all this fucking shit. There is like, I don't have the flexibility to be like, I don't want to do it Tuesday. I'm going to do it Wednesday. Like that doesn't always happen. Totally get it. So you'll just
Right.
need to be able to be flexible with like the windows that you do have for training. But it can be a really big energy leak to like be in a constant state of like forcing sessions to happen if it's just like for whatever reason you're not feeling good. Um so
Yeah.
yeah, because
It's a
you'll just
good
be spending the
reminder.
whole session trying to like make yourself focus or make yourself do things that you're just like not in the mood for. So we're going to like dig
Yeah.
more into that and how to like deal with that in a later episode in this season, but just wanted to call that out that like you being inflexible about your training is an energy leak. Like
Yes.
straight
Yeah.
up. That's not
Rigidity
helping you.
never gave energy to
Rigidity,
no one.
yes, that will be bad on a grand scale. Yeah. So, okay. Caitlin, do you want to remind everyone what your 5 were? I'll do a wrap up of mine and then
Sure. Okay.
we'll sign off.
Sign up. All right. So I had mentioned initially that maybe your fueling meets your calories, but not signal fidelity. Then carbohydrate adequacy without metabolic flexibility. Fueling patterns that reinforce stress physiology. Subclinical micronutrient drag on your energy output. And then also the gut brain immune energy diversion.
AKA hot girl tummy. Okay.
Hot girl
Anyways,
tummy.
all right. I will do now. These are my 5. So your social sessions have gone wild. Your session order is subpar. You're doing junk volume or junk attempts. You're not using auto regulation, and you listen to the calendar more than you listen to your own body. Those are my 5. Okay. Remember your mission. We just gave you a lot of shit. We threw a lot of things at you. Pick one. Sit here for a second. Everyone take a deep breath. That was a lot of things. You might be like, everything I'm doing is wrong. Fuck. It's okay. You're not going to fix all of them at once. That's literally not going to happen. But sit here, take a deep breath. Which one is jumping out at you as either the easiest to work on or what seems to be most impactful? I will say that if you have like chronic pain of some sort, and you aren't already on a journey to deal with that, probably pick that one.
Pick that one.
That's a big thing.
Please.
But yeah, pick that one. Otherwise, live your life. Pick what inspires you. Okay, beautiful. All right, Caitlin, anything? Okay. Our next episode, stay tuned. We're going to be switching gears from the more holistic, and we're going to be talking about technical and tactical energy leaks. So this is going to be a more on the wally type episode, and I'm very excited
on the
about
Wally.
it. So, on the Wally. We're really good at making up adjectives here on the Average Climber podcast. My reminders apply to work with me, one-on-one coaching. Link is in the show notes. I'm linking you to training plan makeovers in the show notes, and crew enrollment is going to open up in March for the next round. So if you're like, this crew sounds like Lauren would teach me how to auto-regulate, you'd be fucking right. You will definitely learn how to do that. That's like a pretty important thing. Yeah. So those are my things. Caitlin, what about you?
Okay. Kind of on a similar vein, if you are looking for individualized support and you are needing some nutrition TLC, you can book a free clarity call with me just to chit chat about what's going on with you specifically, and we'll see what we can do together. Links in our show notes.
Amazing. Okay. The Linkaroonies are where they live in their house.
In the notes of the show.
Running out of the ability to talk. Okay. All right. Until next time, everyone.
Keep it average.